Perfect. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Events Made Live. I am so excited to have you all join us today. If you don't know me, my name is Tiffany English, and I am the founder of Velvet Style Event Marketing. Now, Events Made Simple Live is all about connecting with inspiring individuals that have contributed to the event industry while making a meaningful impact on the events that they host and create. Now, it's for those anywhere from someone who hosts their own events to business owners or even event professionals. And my guests bring unique insights and strategies to help you plan your own events. Now, today I'm so excited to welcome a special guest here, Melanie Richards. She is the brilliant founder of Be Visible Solutions. And I'm so excited because, I've had several conversations with Melanie over the year, and every time I hear from her, I get nuggets of really good insights for events. So I'm really glad that she agreed to have a conversation with me. Now, without further ado, I'd like to officially welcome Melanie Richards, or who I affectionately call her as Mel. Mel, let's go ahead and get started and get the ball rolling. How are you?
I'm really good. Grateful to be with you. On a very cloudy day, Tiffany is warming up our fragile world, as I call it. I am delighted to join you and your guests today. Thanks for your warm invitation.
Oh, I love it's such a pleasure just hearing your voice. But you know what? Let's go ahead and dive in. And why don't you go ahead and give us a brief overview of who you are and your business, Be Visible Solutions.
So the joke is, I am a girl from the Bronx. So I'm a girl from the Bronx who is a Mets fan. And that's the frame because most people from the Bronx, they're Yankees fans. So that lets you know that really the lane of differentiation is one that I really fully embrace. I'm delighted to be a coach and coach people, and not just people, but inclusive leaders and their dynamic teams. And we do it either individually or over events. And I love hybrid, live, and virtual events. I 30 some odd years. You'll laugh actually. This week is 32 years in the gifts and incentives industry. And that used to be my bread and butter, but I love coaching people who are trying to create conversations so others discover their solutions and solve problems in less steps. If we don't find the help we need, whether it's how to create a conversation, how to ignite trust, how to show up in a way that doesn't make us feel like a commodity, we won't get any traction or any momentum. And that's really a big part of my mission. So thanks for a chance to join Tiffany and your amazing community today.
I love it. Thank you. And what stands out is the solutions oriented because we can talk right until we're blue in the face. And for me, I love strategizing and logistics, but without solutions, it just falls apart. So I love that that's your focus and really am excited to really dive in on what that looks like. But you made a good point about client gifting, and which I want to introduce is this theme of our talk today is all about client gifting. And I really wanted to have this in-depth conversation, especially with you, because you talk about client gifts in a way that I don't often hear. I don't hear the why in, in the focus on why we should utilize client gifts in our events. So what I want to do is if we can take the next several minutes to just really dive in on what your thoughts around client gifting and how does that contribute to retaining clients and even establishing new clients.
I think the place to start is why you're considering giving that specific client a gift. You
Mhm.
want to, if you think of it, let's flip the script from the perspective of when you receive a gift. When you receive a gift that warms you up, that delights you, that just, it's your favorite color, it's personalized, it shows care. from the moment you see it. Is it gift wrapped? Is it in your favorite color? Is it a unique shape? Is it a unique packaging? But the thing I think when we flip the script is somebody thought of us to flip that script. If you're buying, and I heard a wonderful collaborator speak about this yesterday, buy 20 gifts for the holidays. Leave them in a basket by your door as somebody comes to your door and rings your bell. Surprise them with a gift. Gifts can delight someone. If it doesn't have that vibe, that feel, that care, that I cherish you, I think of you, I appreciate you. If you don't get that vibe when you're looking at it to select it, or if you don't get that vibe when you're thinking of that client, and a good example is I'll see somebody this weekend who I've never met in person. I cannot wait to meet them. And I'll see two people. One person, I already know her favorite color. And so something that I bring her will, even if it's the gift wrapping, even if it's just the packaging, if it's the gift itself, but some element that captures the spirit that you want somebody to feel and really that sense of delight. And I think sometimes people are like, I'm buying the gift so I can check them off my to-do list. But if we think of a gift and the way we approach giving them to someone else as this person's important to me, whether they're a client, whether they're an ideal future client, whether it's a gratitude gift, a recognition gift, I treasure you, I adore you, and I love you gift. That something in there has to have the emotion of cherished, of treasured. Otherwise, I hate to say it, save your money.
Oh my gosh, so much. And yeah, absolutely. And what stuck out for me is that delight aspect, that, where people are lit up from a gift. And I mean, I had to keep up because you were just dropping gems. But I'd like to say that when someone gets me and I get that gift, that it's like they heard me. So, and from what I think of gifting, that a lot of people kind of drop the ball with is they think the gift as the last resort or the end. But if you think about gifting in the beginning of the conversation, like you just mentioned, you're going to meet with someone and you're already thinking about that gift for their favorite color, not at the end after you've met them and giving them a token, but it's that meaningful, listening skill. So I don't know if that comes across or you really think about when you're having these conversations with people from the beginning, are you listening? Because that's really impactful. You know this person's favorite color, but you've never met them. And so how can we be more cognizant about the gifting and have those listening skills and those cues to have that delight or to to express that delight to someone who we are gifting to.
Some of my friends and clients laugh. They'll ask me sometime, are you still there? I'm an active and a deep listener. And that starts with observation. When you meet someone, they're wearing a color. They're if their logo is behind them, if their brand is behind them, if they're on a stage, there's something somewhere that you can see lights them up, almost to the perspective of when we were kids, and you'd look up in the sky and that first star, and someone tell you wish upon a star. You're noticing something that's different.
Mhm.
So I think my my brain, my gray cells, and what I encourage others to do is kind of lean in. There's something different that distinguishes this person. Is their style formal? Is their style casual? One of one of my coaches, we just had the opportunity to reconnect today after a really long time. And I love it because we're friends and collaborators. And today she was wearing lipstick. And she was wearing red lipstick and she had red flowers in a gorgeous vase in the corner. It's the holiday season, whether she's redecorated, whether she's getting in the mood, whether this is part of, but from the beginning we started talking, I could feel the difference in her energy.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes that's the thing. A gift should change the energy. It should ramp up the level of connection. It should ramp up a level of collaboration, our level of gratitude, our level of what you said from the beginning. I see you. I hear you. Sometimes it's an I feel you gift.
Hmm.
Maybe and sometimes, and I laugh all the time, one of my favorite gifts, and this is the only time my brother's ever done this. He knew there was an artist I loved, and that artist was performing for the holidays. They bought us concert tickets. My
Wow.
brother has never brought me a concert ticket. My favorite artist in a unique setting, beautiful. And he made it a surprise. So he couldn't wrap it. It wasn't in a card. It was an invitation. Come join me on a certain date. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes that gift is an invitation. It's a step forward in a relationship, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's a congratulations gift, it's a recognition, it's an I appreciate you gift. And I think that's sometimes where people get stuck. Our emotions are kind of stuck in ourselves. We're in a world where we have so many to-dos, we have so many priorities. But if you really think of that person and kind of the energy, the spirit, the light they bring to you, whether they're your number one client, whether you're the new client, a new family member, maybe you're bringing a gift for a host or a hostess, to just really think of the energy that you'd like that gift to convey and kind of build that into everything, whether it's how you present it, when you present it.
Oh,
And in some cases, when a person opens it, I've been at events where sometimes people aren't opening gifts, they're focusing on their guests. It's like a private thing that they're having later where they're actually opening gifts. And kind of like, when you go to a wedding reception, there's this wonderful big celebration. Somebody later is hopefully celebrating your gift. So if you make it something that shows the emotion, that shows the care, that shows the appreciation, as opposed to just, I just got you something.
sure. I love it. So there's a lot of thought that even I hadn't considered that goes into gifting. I had not thought about, you know, location or timing or where. And what's interesting is, even in your conversation, you're breaking down different tiers of gifting. We're talking about, is this a special client gift? We're talking about, is it a recognition gift? So it almost sounds like gifting should be in its own strategy and not as a nice to have or as a just a convenience that it goes along. Now with me, my background in corporate events, when I think of client gifting, there was always a token gift at the end of an event. um, our conversations thus far has been talking more of an individual experience of gifting. um, but what would you say about the rights if you have to do gifting in bulk? What are your thoughts on that?
In my 10th anniversary in business, I held a client appreciation gift, an event, and I bought a client appreciation gift. And the gift was kind of that gift for everybody of all ages, of all genders. And the way to distinguish it, each gift was wrapped the same way, but each gift, I had a specific card that I had personalized for everybody attending it. So if you left early, you knew what the gift was. You might not have opened the gift, but everyone got a personalized thank you card. That part wasn't so easy. It
Sure.
meant I had to be the one to give out the gifts, but I alphabetized them. I had two family members who also knew where my cards were for the gifts. We had them all stacked up, but it wasn't like a Lay's potato chip, stop by and take one, pick up some dip and run.
Sure.
I really wanted a chance to really just thank people who were coming. And I thought what was interesting about it was the exact same gift. They were wrapped exactly the same. But I really tried to think of one gift that would make everybody who came, whether a family member, a friend, an old client, my largest client, biggest referral partner, just where everybody knew that they were appreciated and celebrated. So the handwritten card, granted, not a label, wish I knew calligraphy, the best that I could do. And I think sometimes that is the difference. Everybody's getting, if you get it and you feel like it's a token, it doesn't always reflect the care.
Sure.
Whether if you give it out at the beginning and it's a welcome gift, if you give it out at the end and it's a celebration gift, if you present it to somebody and you say thank you, it becomes a recognition gift. So for in client gifting, I think the presentation process is what really needs to have some care. That the person who's there getting it in person, they have one experience, but the person who you're mailing it to, one day, and I watched somebody do this virtually during the pandemic. They sent a bunch of us gifts, and on Zoom, we all opened the gifts. I had never seen anything like this. The coolest part was in every package, there was a handwritten note. It showed the care part, and I think that's the part of of client gifting that part of how you do it, just like how you show up. Tiffany was wonderful talking about my voice. You should have heard me yesterday. I thought I was Kermit the Frog, and I think, but the care part, do we care for our clients? Do we care for people we come in contact with? Do we care to leave an impression, a legacy? My favorite gifts, they're collectibles.
Yeah.
They're run out of stock. No one else has a supply of them. You're about to receive something that is one of a kind. And I think that's the part in terms of our presentation. Make each presentation unique so that somebody feels the care, the warmth, the appreciation. Because other than that, it's just, oh, okay, what they send me.
Sure.
Or or in some cases, I've watched people in some situations, you can tell from the person's eyes that gift you just gave somebody is about to be re-gifted in about 20 seconds. It's about to become the Secret Santa gift, or it's about I have 20 of these. My children have five of them. My neighbors will have one this year. And I think that part of the client gifting part, if you're giving a gift that somebody's unable to use, even if it's not the right size, not the right style, and that's hard. I've watched people give apparel gifts and they'll buy a large or an extra large. What about that extra small person? What about that person who is a 4X? We were at an event and they ordered 2,000 hats for a corporate event. So yes, very large corporation, outdoor event during an awareness month. The person who was paying the bill, they never thought of his hat size. They gave out 2,000 hats, and the person presenting the hats hat didn't fit in.
Wow.
He's on a mic, on video, and everyone else, it's a sea of people with hats. And he's unable to wear the hat because somebody somewhere. So I think sizing is important,
Sure.
age of the person, and really from the client perspective, know that client really, really well.
I 100% agree. So now you're getting into one of my favorite topics to discuss is the being inclusive. You know, when you're talking about sizing and being aware that, no one should be left out ever. And then knowing that group. I mean, just me in particular, you know, I usually have different hairstyles. So a hat probably wouldn't work for me. So when I would see people with hats, I would decline, but it would be that uncomfortable kind of, situation. So when we're talking about gifting, not only are we talking about, you know, being delightful, but being aware as well, right? Oh, and we keep echoing the same thing about it can't be just a by the way. It literally, you have to put thought and care and concern. And what I like that you mentioned earlier about the personalizing a handwritten card. I mean, I feel like people think that client gifting, in order to be impactful, has to cost a lot of money. Like, you have to buy this high ticket thing for it to be impactful. And understanding that it could be something, handmade. I remember someone gave me, um, it was a situation where she was in a situation. I kind of helped her out. No big deal. It really, and I didn't think about it any other time. And I received handmade soaps, and I thought, this is amazing. And she made homemade soaps. There were three of them, and I just thought, this is the coolest thing ever. And I want to say this was maybe about 10 years ago that I can still remember that. So I think, and I don't know about your situation, but can you speak on, does it have to be this high ticket item for people to feel that they're, being thought about or it's impactful?
No, and I love it because you're reminding me of somebody who I love buying gifts from. So it's a good reminder. You're helping me do some of my upcoming shopping. There's a wonderful woman who makes handmade soaps. I got to meet her at a networking event, and she was telling us how she made soaps. And I was really stuck on an item for our niece. Our niece was vegan, and she made vegan soaps.
Ooh.
So everybody got custom vegan soaps because some of them, my nieces, they were in certain shades. They had certain decorations. Maybe other people just got a really amazing, I mean, you could smell them through the box. And I think the reminder, this was a gift that really, this was $5 for a bar of soap, but the packaging makes you feel like
Sure.
you're looking at a Tiffany's blue box.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I laughed because the ones for my niece, she prepackaged them. She knew that I had ordered a special gift for somebody I adored. I didn't need to wrap them. And I think sometimes that's the difference. When it's something relatively inexpensive, your packaging can reflect a greater amount of care than the cost of the gift. Is it in a gift bag? Are you using metallic paper? Is it a gift card? Is it, we laughed because at a client event, someone was giving out Starbucks cards. I'm not the Starbucks girl. I'm lucky. I have a barista in the house and in the cappuccino machine. But I knew when I got this gift, I was regifting it. And I think that's the part to think about from a client gifting perspective.
Sure.
Sometimes that gift you gave somebody, they're not keeping. When you've given them a gift like that, that note, ah, I know, for example, here's a Starbucks card, and I know you're a tea drinker. So you know something? Here's a mug with your favorite tea. Here's a gift certificate to a tea shop.
Yeah.
The differentiation part of client gifting is what's important. That means if it was apparel, what is it size appropriate? If it's inclusive, is it age appropriate? If it's a food gift, does somebody have a nut allergy? Somebody,
Sure.
all the different things that we maybe would never know about. I think from the client gifting perspective, setting a budget and a budget in tiers, meaning these are the clients that I'd like to spend X to Y on. These are the clients that I'd like to spend Y to Z on. These are the clients that the cost of the gift doesn't really matter. I want it to be the perfect gift. And everybody's got those type of clients. I
Yeah.
think the thing is thinking of the levels and gifting. I think a simple strategy for gifts is to think of gifts when you're doing client gifts, to think of tiers. You have newer clients, maybe.
Sure.
You have ideal future clients. You have your larger VIP clients. You have referral partners. To think of the different tiers for the levels almost of the relationship. And I think from a client gifting perspective, it'll allow you to spend your resources on those relationships on which you already have that mutually beneficial relationship. They've already have really high, amazing returns. And in some cases, rather than a gift, think of an experience. That's what happened with me with that client appreciation party. My family had never met my clients, none of them. So I had a DJ. It was catered. It was off of the water. It was a relaxing evening. And I think it became an experience. So no matter what the cost of the gift was, yes, everybody, and I had a cash bar because I adore my clients. Some of them, they need that top shelf stuff.
Yeah.
Other stuff, they're in recovery. They don't want to. So, you had the option to create within the environment or create within the experience your own unique gifting experience. The thing I loved was in terms of our clients, and especially it's a client who maybe you don't know well, I would ask my clients, what's the favorite gift that you've ever received?
Mm.
And I do this research for a lot of clients, for like sustainable gifts. What's a sustainable gift that you got that really delighted you? And you have an idea of what they love, and you really can look and lean in for what lights them up. And if it's not a client that you've been able to ask what's important to them, I don't want to say rethink your approach to your client relationships.
Yeah.
This is not something you're going to find out from a form. And you can't always ask somebody what their favorite color is, but you can see what lights people up. And if you notice that about your clients, you'll deepen every client relationship that you have, regardless of whether you have an annual, a seasonal, or, a frequent gift giving project. I think sometimes too, just a meal in a certain sense.
Hmm.
Send somebody an amazing meal in a cooler,
Yeah.
or a gift certificate that they can redeem for something that they'd like. And do it in a way that just inspires some care?
Absolutely. I will never turn down a gift certificate for food. I remember someone sent, and I attend a lot of webinars, and someone said, "Hey, have lunch on us while you watch this webinar and order it from, DoorDash or Uber Eats." And I thought, fantastic. This is, a webinar with lunch. And something so simple. But I want to just kind of grasp something you said about care, um, because similar to client gifting, and I think I say this a lot, so you're gonna hear it again, but it's when we talk about events, we talk about the attendee experience. And the same should be with the client gifts, right? Because you talked about having an experience. What do you want them to feel? How would you feel? So it's not about a gifting to you. And, Mel, you and I have both worked in, that corporate realm where gifts come with these, big logos and it's about us, the company. But taking that back and actually thinking about, okay, will this person want to receive this? Will this person want this Shosky as a actual, end of the year gift? Would you want to, have that gift? So I think, putting in care and actually thought into how they would feel is an easy enough a way to, really grow that client gifting, strategy. Maybe you think it's harder to, okay, gosh, I'm strategizing about this and that, and now I have to strategize about client gifts, but simple enough just to feel how that client would want to feel could drive that client gifting strategy. What do you think about that?
Definitely. And I think you're reminding me too, there's somebody I know in terms of client gifting. They are the first and only Thanksgiving card we ever receive every year.
Mm,
That card comes the middle of November. And the interesting thing about that card is there's always a warm, personalized note in it. And they always include a picture, which I think is interesting. It's a memory from our last experience together. And you don't even realize they're taking pictures of everybody.
I love that.
But it's something, I mean, to send one picture, and granted, it's a picture that they're printed it on their little photo printer. But you know what? It shows, wow, the memory of when we last spent some time together. It's part of the experience. It reminds you too to look forward to the next time you're seeing them.
I love that. Well, I know we don't have too much longer, but what I did want to cover before we have to wrap up is, we've been talking about gifting, been giving examples, but what are your thoughts on how that would drive growth, whether you're growing your client base, whether you're growing revenue. Maybe someone watching is like, client gifts, why should I? Why do I need it? If I already have a streamline of clients that I work with on an annual basis, what's the point? Do you find a correlation between, thoughtful gifts and either new clients or, loyalty or are there any types of examples?
Yes, and I what I love about that is one of my referral partners always, when you gave her a referral, you received a gift. You never knew what you were going to receive. And I remember not, sending her that first referral and not expecting anything back other than the person I sent you, I know you took great care of and you delighted them. I think when there's a revenue expectation, and in some cases, from clients who work clients who work at the level of, let's say, the Black Hat Conference, for example, and they have an event spend that is deep in the six figures. They also know that the appointments and the revenue they're generating from that specific event series and from their client relationships is generating perhaps an eight or a nine-figure return from one event series in a year.
Wow.
And so they're carefully selecting at which events you receive a gift. And I think they're having some events which are no investment for anyone to attend. You don't necessarily have to be a current client. It's part of just the brand awareness, kind of the equivalent of an open house. There is no gifting whatsoever done at that event.
Okay.
What's interesting is at that event, they have a VIP section. Within that VIP section, there is an experience. And I'm sure that experience becomes attached to something that person receives the next day. It's an invitation to join them for golf, or it's an invitation to join them for the wine tasting, or to join them if they're in Vegas, whether it's an event around the Sphere or the Links or whatever the current show experience is. And I think the communication around the gifting part, so that sometimes I know I'm getting a great gift. And then other times there's just the delight of an experience. And I think that's the part that needs to be developed into a gifting strategy, and especially a gifting strategy that really does drive your revenue. If you're giving a gift to stay memorable and top of mind and aware with the client, so that hopefully they send you a referral next year, they remember to renew their annual subscription, their annual membership. They keep an amazing gift that includes the save the date for the next annual event. Then that gift needs to be part of what I'd call a subscription series. So one of the things I've fallen in love with recently is the kiting, is the kits that you could build. I needed a unique gift for somebody, and I looked to our industry and I didn't find what I was looking for, but I wanted to send somebody a relaxation gift.
Okay.
I located a company because somebody sent me a thank you gift. It was a calm box. I had never received it before. Beautiful packaging. Second you opened it, I felt like I was on my way to the spa. There were no slippers inside, there was no robe, there was no different thing. But you know what? When I needed a unique gift for a client, a relaxation gift, a care gift, I sent them a 4-month subscription. So I think sometimes too, sending a gift that maybe is at a lower price point than you were originally thinking of, but maybe it's a repetitive gift. And maybe you then are sending the person the gift. That thank you note I got was amazing. What I wasn't expecting was got a thank you note for the next 4 months. And you know what? 6 months later, when we saw each other at that client's event, we then were able to get together for like an amazing lunch. You're amazing. You're able to like celebrate the relationship. So I think that's the part. If the client gifting strategy is part of an ongoing appreciation series, build it and create it and make it memorable. And next year, notch it up a little. If it's somebody you see in person, and this year you won't see them in person, create an opportunity to create a warm, inviting virtual space. Or send it, have it delivered in a really unique fashion, and really how you're presenting it is really the key. And especially in client gifting, the packaging, it starts from the second your doorbell rings and there's a courier, or the second your ring or your Zoom lights up and you're like, oh, who is at my door? Um, or when a messenger hand couriers a package, which is what happened in the one that we were in a situation where everybody opened them up online. People weren't expecting. If you were live, you received your gift in person. If not, that gift had been delivered, and on it was a beautiful note. Please do not open until we greet you.
Interesting. I love it. You you bring in some really great examples. One is, the packaging experience. And from what I'm just thinking is that, these vendors have a great opportunity. Small business owners have a great opportunity. Um, we had talked about, someone making soap. We had talked about a com box. There are a lot of great small businesses, and there are some that I work with that do their own. Um, but to make sure that you're communicating that same, delight and experience that they get you. So even for the people who are ordering client gifts, this conversation is just as well for, vendors that make these gifts, that put in that same care of, delight and experience, whether they, want to have a conversation before you buy and say, hey, what are you trying to convey? What colors are great? Getting those thoughts too. So I just wanted to make mention that, client gifting is just as important for the sender as it is for a possible maker.
Plus, also not necessarily putting your name on the gift. And you'll say after 32 years of promotional products, what do you mean? Don't put my name in the gift. They won't know who it's from. If it's the perfect gift, they will never forget
Absolutely. Oh, I'm glad you
it.
said it. You said it such tasteful way, because I have my peeves, and it's, one, it's putting your logo on everything. And, sometimes you just can't get away from it because, corporate, that's, what we're designed to think about. But you're right. It doesn't have to. And, if you pay attention to what the client gifting is about, it's not about you. It's about the receiver, right? So I'm so glad you said that in a much tasteful way that I would have. But
Same
yes.
thing with dates. Same thing with dates. If you're having an annual event and you have 50 gifts left over and you try and give them out the next year, what do you
Oh, okay. This is good stuff, because I was hoping we had enough time. I wanted to just ask quickly of, what the common mistakes are that happen in gifting and how to avoid that. But yeah, that is a blunder. Please don't do that. Do you have any other examples that are just like, don't do this?
if the price is right, please close your eyes, pretend you didn't see it, and
Mm,
walk away.
mm,
Because that price is right gift that may break, that doesn't come with a warranty, that didn't come with a guarantee. When you purchase from a small business, 9 times out of 10, there's a care and a level of service and quality there when you can, even with the big, amazing brand names. Some of them are wonderful. Oh my goodness, babe. Oh, are you kidding? I have a friend, we're near Woodbury Common, and she would line up every year to find out what the Coach bag that they were giving away. And that became her gift for next year. Yes, it's great. It's a wonderful brand. It's a wonderful name. But if you're not feeling the delight from the Price is Right, then there's another opportunity there. Think
ah,
of a way to create an experience that delights the recipient. Take your time, take your care, even if you're sending it a little bit late, even if it's, a gift they receive. And maybe if client gifting around the holidays is really challenging, take time to learn your clients' birthdays. Send them a gift when their children are graduating, when they're having a family celebration. Send them something unique that connects them, that builds community and doesn't just, it's not a flush away. And people are like, what do you mean? If it's going to break in transit within 5 minutes after you have it,
Yeah,
if you don't know the quality, the workmanship, if the reviews online aren't necessarily okay, you can tell when they're from a competitor who just doesn't want those goodies to sell. But if you see enough complaints about quality, please skip it. Please, whatever it is, Google it or Bing it or DuckDuckGoose, look it up and type the word reviews after it and
yeah.
try and also type the word complaints.
That's very good. I don't know how many times the disappointment it takes over the actual gift. And that's what I remember. I got a 4-in-1 charger and I was so excited to use it and it didn't work. And so of course it hasn't come in. So that's what I think about. But you make a good point about, trying testing. Um, I love all of this. And
Order one and play with it. See
yes,
how it's
absolutely.
wrapped. See what it feels like. See if you're impressed with the quality. Would you want to receive this?
Yes. Yes. And I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad I have you because, I love having you on here. But I want to say that selfishly, I was getting some of your tidbits for, my service, which is a virtual client gifting concierge, which is with small business owners. And what I do, it's vetted products that I've had to ship to myself first. How does it come? How is it wrapped? Can we do this personalization? So all of these tidbits, I'm doing a checklist. I'm checking this off. I'm making sure. And I'm excited that these vendors are from, women owned, product businesses, Black owned product businesses, because I think there's a lot of those um, companies that just don't care, or they're, cranking out things and they fall apart, or they come from, overseas. So this is something that's been a baby of mine as far as my service offerings, but I'm listening just as well as I'm, asking the questions. So I'm not going to say probably, I'm definitely going to go over this recording and take some notes. But I want to thank you, Mel, for this conversation. And also, how can others reach out to you? What do we need to know about you? I'll definitely have this in the notes, but I just wanted to get firsthand where people can find you. I already know where they can find you, so but I'm not going to say it. So I'm going to let you say it.
So I'm a teacher's kid. I am a LinkedIn girl.
Yes,
And
you
I am
are.
a LinkedIn girl to the point where this introvert goes live usually most Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn. And it's just a way of just reach out. I love conversations. I love discovering new ways to help people, new solutions, new ideas. There's somebody I met online 10 years ago. She keeps coming to talk to me about unique gifts, and I smile. She's never bought a gift for me, but we keep just talking about what are unique ideas because that's really what we all need to distinguish ourselves. So if you're looking, whether it's a short-term solution, a little bit longer, or hey, you're not sure where to start, I love sharing resources with others that'll help them solve problems quickly or help them find solutions. And that's really what Be Visible Solutions is finally about. I'm delighted to line up under that umbrella full out next year. I mean, full out. And the real reminder, there's something you do out there that helps others create magic, that creates wonder, that creates joy. Let it out. We really all need more of that in our fragile world.
I love it. Yes, and I'll make sure to link in your LinkedIn, no pun intended, into the show notes. But I love all these tidbits of information and the solutions that you provide. I think that that's where, that's what's needed. From the time of this recording, it is December 2024. But whether you're, listening in 25, I want to say that 25 is going to be an epic year. Okay. So I'm go ahead and foreshadowing that, no matter what time of year or season that you are listening to this recording. So I'd love to kind of maybe get back with you and just see. I'm excited for Be Visible Solutions and all the great things that you're going to be doing in the coming year. So this is a recording of where we are now, but 6 months from now, a year from now, I mean, you're going to be doing definitely really great things. So I'm all here for it. So thank you again. And I was going to ask if you had any last minute advice, but I think you've covered it. But I did want to give you an opportunity to say if you had any one piece of advice or a takeaway about client gifting.
Imagine the recipient really start kind of with the end in mind. People
Yes,
think of, oh, it's my budget. It needs to fit in this container, but really start with the person, the organization, the group, and if you can, think of something that makes them memorable and try and channel that into a gift. And if not, find an artist, find somebody who knows them well, because one of the most unusual gifts I ever saw, someone led a team. They gave him an, a laser engraved canoe paddle instead of an award. It was unusual, but then turns out that's what he did in college. He was in the crew team. Someone shared it. It was really unique, and he had a really massive office, so he could hang this paddle up or display it. Or hey, on a bad day, maybe he's trying to channel his inner something. And I think that's the thing about gifts. They should delight, they should convey an emotion, and they should reflect the person you're giving them to, as well as your appreciation for them.
I love it. Absolutely. I love it. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in and trusting us just to hit play and hear that conversation about client gifting. Again, I want to thank my guest, Melanie Richards, for such a lovely conversation. I want to say be sure to join us next events made simple live where we continue exploring just different themes and concepts around events making meaningful connections and until next time let's just continue with those building those relationships and making impactful events. Goodbye.